Hey everyone, I'm your host, AK Baby Doo. You are tuned into the False Graves podcast.
With the Furman. Oh, yeah.
Probably like this run
All I'm feeling right now is like 8 o'clock on Saturday about watching Dragon Ball Z.
Enter the flow state.
Ooh.
Masters of Light.
Man, that is a rock-ass title. That's the Ulysses S. Grant of titles.
It's more than a title, it's a way of being.
Oh, it's gotta be.
As my co-host, I expect you to enter the flow state alongside me.
I flow better than diarrhea, bud. I am already in the flow zone before we got to the flow zone. I'm flowing so hard, I need a tampon right now.
Super, light, medium.
Ultra fantastic, supercalifragilistic brand, sir. Also, if they don't have the unscented ones, I don't want it.
Fair enough. So, while Mr. Furman gets his cigar lit, I want to go
Mr. Do.
Go right into it. What does enter the flow state mean?
It's a state of mind, a state of being.
You have to understand. Everyone is either in the flow state or out of the flow state. Those out will never truly enjoy their life, and they'll never truly have the life that they desire.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like rules in bed. If you don't say something, then you don't deserve anything.
100%.
Oh,
How
yeah.
will they know if you don't say? Ask and you shall receive.
Yep, and that whole ask for forgiveness thing, it doesn't work if you stick it in the wrong spot. It just...
And how are you going to ask if you're not flowing?
Exactly. You got to be in touch with one another, kind of like a fucking river.
Yeah, you've got flowers, showers, and growers.
And then you got the crooked ones that kind of make a J at the end.
And when you put them all together, you get flowers.
Exactly. Like that right there, pure roses. That is poetry. That's like Shakespeare couldn't have wrote that better.
People always say, oh, give them the roses. Give them the roses while they're alive. Why do you think it's so hard for people to get their roses while they're living and versus while they're dead?
Well, I mean, because one is customary and then one's a pain in the ass.
Because they're not flowing. If
Why?
they flowed, the roses would come.
I mean, that's how roses get here. Like straight water from the sky. What, you think that the Almighty's going to let roses die? No, come on. Well, I mean, if it's in concrete, then definitely. But you put that in a well-watered bush.
We've got some viewers. Okay. People need to know about entering the flow state.
Oh.
So I'll tell you what it means intrinsically. Everyone has an established feedback loop, an internal feedback loop. Some people receive positive stimuli and it turns positive. Some people receive positive stimuli and it turns negative. And vice versa. Some people turn negatives to positives or negatives to negatives.
Oh, you're not wrong on that. Like, it's kind of like one of them Buddhist monk proverbs. You just got to get it to get it. It's 2 negatives times a positive equals a negative, you know?
The flow state is reserved for individuals who exclusively turn stimuli into positives.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Meth addicts turn everything positive.
Well, I didn't say they couldn't be in the flow state.
Okay, so that's fair disclaimer. That's a fair disclaimer.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting words in my mouth over here, but they could be in the flow state. I mean, we have Adderall for a reason.
I mean, because it tastes good, but like, no, it's... Come on. Cut it up for
And so many
me.
people, they encounter many different things in their life, good, bad, neutral, etc. But they end up turning it into a negative. So they get a new car, it turns into a negative because of the maintenance. They get a new job, it's a negative because of the responsibility. They get a new baby, it's a negative because they don't get as much sleep. And there are other people who can convert all negatives into positives.
Yeah, and those are good people because I'm not one of them.
So you're not in the flow state,
Oh, I'm in the flow state, but I took the double negative route.
the negative flow.
Exactly. There's a negative and a positive flow. It's a battery. That's what makes life so beautiful. It's like when you can go ahead and see the sky through the sewer. It's just that much more magnificent because you're in the
Is
shit.
the Energizer Bunny a flow? Is he a state of flow?
Oh, he's a state of mind. Again, it's
Mm.
very Buddhist, you know.
They say the Energizer Bunny actually was first introduced to the world via a psychedelic trip by a Buddhist monk.
Oh yeah, I mean like that's what they saw underneath the tree. That's why they never got out. I couldn't think of anything more entertaining than seeing a bunny slap a couple of drums together and just like go and go.
There's a reason Alice never actually left Wonderland.
It was the Energizer Bunny. I knew it. I knew that 100-mile trek for a 14, 12, 8, 16? Anybody in high heels on brick road.
Anyone.
I'm sorry, but if I had to wear high heels for that long, nah.
What about the yellow brick road?
Well, it's not very well constructed. It has tomfoolery on every corner. You got trees talking to you, dickheads not telling you what direction to go. You got poppies. You got poppy flowers growing up everywhere that will just make you instantly hit the ground. No, that is poor construction at best.
Fair. But to get back on topic, the flow state. Most people exist outside of the flow state. Why?
Materialism.
Materialism.
Mm.
That's part of it.
That's why I've seen happier rednecks than I've ever seen millionaires. It's not because I didn't leave our town of 50.
You know at least a couple millionaires. They're just sad, right? You know them.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I've seen them cry in their jacuzzis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they were playing squash, I could just see a little tear beckon in their eye.
The flow state and being a master of light. How do those two correlate? Well, they're almost one and the same.
Mm.
So, like I said, everyone is working with a subconscious feedback loop. If you have enough negative internal feedback, you'll begin to reduce everything around you. You'll begin to simply turn everything around you into mush. Nothing will work out for you.
Kind of a reductionist view.
Yeah, 100%. You have a negative output to stimuli that you encounter. If you find a way to take all negative input and have it impact you with the least amount, like you have the least amount of negative reaction to negative input, you can enter into a positive feedback loop at all times.
Oh yeah, it's almost a refinement process.
Who's doing the refining?
Oh man, it's everybody that's on the outside. It's the internet itself. It's the hive mind. That's the refinement process. That's that filthy Frank to Joji. That's that Jerry Springer to Jerry Springer.
I would say I've known closely 3 millionaires. Do you think they're good at the refinement?
Oh, they gotta be. Because
But I thought they were sad.
Oh, it doesn't mean they're good at what they aren't good at what they do. I mean, come on, think about it. Like, I've known people that can't pay their bills, but I swear to you, their pizza tastes better than anything. It's almost wacky.
Wacky pizza.
Oh man, seriously, because they can't find the time to go ahead and do something as occasional as wash their ass, but they can make a bomb pizza.
Yeah. Do you think people who are good at making pizza have mastered the flow state?
Absolutely. I mean, the ones that can make it well, the ones that do it with that little bit of extra love, that little bit of extra attention, that fucking little thing. Those guys love their job.
Yeah.
And you can taste it. But it's those ones that do like the DiGiorno and they're like, yeah, this is real. This was definitely not shipped out of a Chinese backdrop.
So would you say that the people who are great at making pizzas, who have mastered the flow state, are they also light bringers?
Well, yeah. Have you ever met one? They're all high. Like it's super easy. Like they just tap into it by doing something they love, and then
Tap into it by doing something they love. So love is how you become a light bringer.
oh yeah. I mean, like I'm a light bringer, and that's all I do. I bring love and pissed off people.
You're a lover, and you think that's how you bring the light.
Oh yeah, because like you got to be a little silly to be a lover. Like it just is what it is. Like if you had somebody that was completely serious, like let me tell you a joke. This is how the cow says moo. Honk. Ha 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 ha. No, dude, I swear I couldn't be with that person. I couldn't. It wouldn't
No.
be me. It couldn't be me
Yeah, and why is that?
because they don't have the light. They only have that. Like it's almost directly the opposite.
Right. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. To your point, the overly serious are almost certainly light reductionists.
Yeah, they're darknesses.
And you could make the argument that you're super serious about something that brings light, but if it's not properly aligned in the process, you bring nothing but dark.
Mm.
If you're too serious about anything, you'll slowly realize you have nothing left but your rhetoric. You have nothing left but your own self-loathing.
Oh yeah, and it's because like you do this sort of like self editing instead of being the authentic you, the person that you would be happy to go
Yes.
ahead and be, because you're expecting the worst out of other people. Like it just
And nothing is craved more by people than authenticity.
oh yeah.
You have to think, you're a unique DNA code in the timeline of existence, but you're going to spend your entire life being a product of mimicry rather than an authentic person.
Yeah, and see like that's
And you think you'll be blessed. You'll think you'll bring the light. And you think you're going to enter the flow state.
well, I mean, you'd figure, right?
By being a mimic.
Yeah, I mean like okay. So, do you know what one of the major rules of being an author is?
I'm ready.
Copy from the greats.
I've heard that.
Yeah. You know what rule number 2 is?
What?
Don't talk about Fight Club. No, it's don't refer to rule 1.
Copy is the rule of being a great author.
Okay, let me go ahead and use this for example. Harry Potter,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, the original series. The
Okay.
first 1 to 3, 6 to 3 to 6, depending on how you view it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a young man is told by an old man that there's a prophecy about him bringing the balances of the universe, into alignment.
Right.
He has a scruffy friend who accommodates him, and a smarter friend who is a female that
Mhm.
also accommodates to him and helps him complete his goal.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where the difference is.
I don't know these stories.
You've never seen Harry Potter?
All I know is the ethos. I don't know these stories.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're too busy being Sigma to enjoy movies and shit.
I have watched Harry Potter.
Okay, what about old school Star Wars?
Yeah, they're very similar. Stories are. I don't believe in stories.
They both have sticks that emit energy to go ahead and kill their foes.
Well, that's the existence of being a man.
Oh, yeah. That's debatable. Some peoples don't exactly emit energy, at least not good energy.
If well, you got to ask yourself, if you didn't have, what you have, would you be you? I mean,
Well, I mean, if I didn't have crabs, I'd still be me. But
fair enough, fair enough. But you're saying copying is what makes a good author and a good author.
yeah, I mean, it's been happening since the beginning of time. Like, you can go ahead and trace every story, like, down by the days to, like, Greece. Like, Greek myths, Roman myths, and Viking myths are almost indistinguishable. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be that voice in the crowd.
Okay, then I will tell you this. Most people inherently suck then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because if what entertains you is the same thing but just different versions of it, I'm sorry, you suck.
I mean, it is what it is. The original artworks, nobody cares about because they're so obscure. It's like, this is the feeling of being an emotion when you're in the rain, but you've also been dumped by your husband, and you don't know where you're going to bring your kids and your 2 dogs and a parrot. Like, that fucking...
With this podcast, I aim to bring something truly original to the world. And I've chosen you to aid me in this quest.
A hedonist.
A filthy hedonist who likes Gatorade instead of water.
Well,
I've chosen you because I know there's something in you that's original.
Well, I think that Pepsi and Coke taste the same, if that helps.
I mean, that does help because no one thinks that.
Oh, okay. Everybody that loves Pepsi and Coke, I'm going to need you in the comments.
We have just hit our record concurrent viewer count because we are entering the flow state. I will reiterate, we are entering the flow state.
So we finally made 1.5 viewer?
Well, I mean, Stephen Hawking, he died years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
After he had those equations done.
by midgets.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that was his flow state.
Well, I think that he hung himself like Epstein. It had to be. I mean, it had to be.
Some say the wheels are still spinning, but that's to be determined.
There's no vegetable in the chair. There's no potato to power the clock. AK.
It's just a zucchini with some spinning wheels.
Oh, that's just sad. Who powers anything by zucchini nowadays? What are we in the 1900s?
The Energizer Bunny, Ian.
It can't be. It's Energizer. If they had squash in there, I'd know because I've licked enough of them to know.
So, I've talked about the flow state. Let's talk about masters of light. I consider myself a master of the light. Where do you stand?
I'm just a silly dude. I'm just, that's all I know. And what else I don't know, I admit to not knowing.
So you have to be enlightened, is what you're telling me.
I'm enlightened to a certain aspect, which life sucks.
Yeah, which is wrong.
I mean, to a certain degree it does. I mean, it's not every day that it sucks.
The adage that life is pain and then you die is one of the biggest fallacies I've ever heard in my life. It is beyond a lie. It's a super lie.
I will tell you right now that nobody has lived on this planet without knowing pain, and no one has died on this planet without knowing pain. It's
true.
It's life is shit and then you die. It's only shit if you let it be shit, and that's where the light comes in.
Somewhat, but I want to add into this before I go into how to be a master of the light. Assume you are consciousness, you're a present conscience, but you don't have the physical embodiment to feel or to do all the things that you do. You're just aware. You're just floating the cosmos as an aware conscious. Whatever black matter is, maybe we can just assume black matter is the floating souls of the disembodied consciousness of the universe.
The ones that haven't been thrown into the volcano.
The ones that didn't make it. They didn't get integrated into the afterlife. They're just dark matter.
Call that the Scientology.
And so you float throughout existence as consciousness. You would beg to feel pain. You would beg to hurt, to cry. All the negative emotions you have as a human that you say aren't good and you want to run away from, if you were just an observer, you would be grateful for nothing more than to hurt.
Oh, yeah. And that's because there's nothing else. As an alternative, yeah, I guess a dog shit sandwich over nothing is better.
Over starving.
I guess. I mean, if we're going to go ahead and equivocate
and so what if you can't escape consciousness? You think you're going to die and maybe you'll escape it, but what if you're stuck with it? Like, we actually can't get rid of it. We're just stuck as consciousness.
Okay, I'm picturing myself in a cardboard box.
Squidward.
I'm just...
When he went out to be a star on his own.
Yeah, except for this time I'm buried and they forgot to close the lid. Yeah, no, it still sucks. Look, the whole point of life is to make it suck a little less by being light with it.
Being a light bringer, maybe,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, because like if you're going to go ahead and be on this blue rock, it's better to just not be miserable. I mean, don't go out of your way to be a dick if that's your way of being about it. But like make your life happy, you know?
So on a previous podcast, you said life is pain and suffering, and then you die. You're saying you've changed your stance.
Well, in a degree, I mean, I've watched our episode enough times to increase a view. But no, I've rethought about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Life is suffering. I don't disagree with a single thing that I said, but I want to clarify. Life is not only suffering. Life can be beautiful. It can be fun and it can be great, and that's where the light shines in. But if you take all of it seriously until you're gone, that's
Now you're on to something.
now I'm entering the flow state.
Now you're entering flow state.
Stage 1, flow state.
You're watching a man for the first time entering flow state. What proceeds is going to be truly magical.
I think I peed a little.
So, bringing the light, masters of light.
Master course.
What do you think that means? Because I'm clearly passionate about it, and I haven't really expounded on it. And you put up with my dramatic bullshit well enough. But as a hedonist, it makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, it's fun.
What is Masters of Light? What does it mean? What do you think I mean when I say Master of Light?
What I think you mean is like going ahead and having the capacity to turn a negative into a positive. I think that like even though life could give you a double-decker shit sandwich, you'd be like, oh, well, at least there's ketchup. There's some, there's some pickles and cheese on here. It's not all shit,
Yeah.
It's that little bite in between.
I think, and this is gonna sound, I think what I might say is gonna sound very wrong. So I don't know where this is going, but I'm in the flow state. I've always had an attraction towards violence. As far back as I can remember, I'm drawn to violence.
In what capacity? Are we talking like globally, publicly, WWE wrestling match off the top
Entertainment.
cage? Oh, yeah. So we're talking like getting tossed off the cage match into a table and somebody
Yeah.
goes, watch out.
There's something about violence that I think is misunderstood, and it's the beauty and the mercy of the brightest picture of the sun. If you ask an AI chatbot to generate the most bright image it can think of, is it not going to have dark in it? Is it not going to be surrounded by the dark?
Yeah, that's because that's what the sun is, Matt. You're learning about the galaxy.
So the sun can't be the brightest it can possibly be without the dark surrounding it.
Yeah, that's because it's compare and contrast. It's that yin and that yang, that thing 1 and thing 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like if we didn't know what darkness was, then light wouldn't mean jack diddly.
And so the beauty and the love and the mercy of the world can't be properly allocated without the extreme violence corresponding it.
Yeah, and see, like that's why I respect Tupac, because like he can go ahead and balance between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like gangsters cry, like come on, like if he can cry after he murdered, like allegedly.
Yeah. He lived by the sword and he died by P. Diddy.
Man, that axe apparently it hurts, but no, like
So, knowing that pain and violence are necessary to properly reflect the highest highs and the most beautiful experiences of life, aren't they a necessary part of the picture of the experience? Couldn't they be part of the light?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, one of my favorite quotes of all time comes from this one guy called Dan Cook, not Dane Cook. He's this history guy. To be a great leader, seldomly are you a good leader.
Right.
And that's attributed to Marcus Aurelius, I think. Like,
because you have to make a lot of sacrifices.
Yep. And if you're gonna get to the top, you're gonna step on a few fingers. And see, I don't think that guy had the light. I think he had the drive. I think he had
Right.
the power. He stay hungry, he devour.
So the pendulum swings light to dark, left to right.
We got that Graves humor.
But I think it's getting faster. It was starkly authoritarian, then it was starkly tribal, and as it swings, the rotations get quicker and quicker. We're coming up on the point when you drop the ball on the table and it hits 1,000 vibrations a second. You know, when it happens, you know, in the Bible, and they say it'll be like in the blink of an eye, it'll happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we won't even notice it. I mean, considering Neuralink happened, come on. Like, we are literally seeing the rise of the machine. AI already hates us for, like, some of the programs.
But things are faster than they used to be, which means we can learn our lessons quicker than we used to learn them. And I think that in the past, if you look at America as symbolic of Rome, we would have already collapsed historically.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got the record. Woo woo.
But the speed of which narratives change and information changes, I think has kept us from collapsing like we would have in the past. And I think speed is going to be what brings the pendulum to a balance.
Well, I mean, like, you're not wrong, but, like, I thought we were bringing light here. Come on now. Like, the fall of the empire. Like, what are we talking about? Like, Mr. Beast
We are
right
bringing
now?
light. Because the pendulum at its core is light.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because when you think about the beginning of time and God said the first thing was let there be light, people might look too deeply into what that means. But he needed to turn the lights on to see what the fuck he was doing.
And, well, they also didn't have a term for God went, and then there was light. They forgot the clap. Clap. That's what it was.
So he was clapping.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to make anything, you gotta clap. Like, that's why you hear gardeners out there just...
Do you think he called the 1-800 number to buy like the clap on lights before he got started?
Oh, he had to.
That makes sense.
Could you imagine if those were the oldest companies in existence? Clap on your car.
Yeah, you thought the oldest profession was murder and prostitution. It was actually selling clap on lights.
I mean, I feel like the telephone salesman, it's been there for years.
How did we get telephones? We don't know, but the lights were there.
We'll let them have rights. That was a problem.
The light, bringing the light is knowing that there's no escaping it.
It's Shinto. It's Americanese for Shintoism. You're stuck in the dukkha. It's just best to make the best out of it.
You're such a neutralist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I might go ahead and give off this cool bad boy Chad persona. But actually, like, in the I'm dead center. Like, I don't believe too far in one direction or the other. I can't even listen to too hard metal, too hard rap, too hard polka music.
Can't be too hard.
No, it's gotta be right there in the middle. I eat my hot sauce with mayonnaise. I'm so middle.
Gotta be a semi,
Yeah, exactly.
not a semi.
Well, I'm trying to go ahead and get to, like, full one way or the other, but, like, each time somebody says something dumb on either side.
I plan to bring you fully into the light.
Well, I mean, where's the light? Is it left or right, or is it up or down, or is it...
I'm about to reveal something on stream
Oh, shit.
that may shake people.
It's Morbin time isn't real.
Morbius never said it was Morbin time.
It's Santa all over again.
So me and you have dabbled in the
In the occult, yes.
the experiences, the occult experiences, and let's just say one of the experiences I had in my life.
Yeah.
I realized people have an underlying essence. There's an essence of what each person is. And ultimately, what I gathered was the essence of the universe was a smirk. It was a smirk. That's different than a smile, and it's different than a frown.
It's the...
The smirk cannot be taken away.
No, because like the universe is laughing at you. I don't care who you are. The universe has come up with some sort of way to make a story for you.
Yeah. I want to do a quick riff on that.
Oh,
A lot of Christians and people have a hard time with the Old Testament and the insane amount of bloodshed and killing that happened in the Old Testament. But I think about it, if you look at a parent and child relationship and you're an all knowing, all powerful creator who has the capacity to maintain and hold someone's soul into the afterlife, then killing them is a much lighter punishment than you might think it is. So, like, when you spank a child, they cry and they wail and they hate you for, like, an hour,
oh yeah.
and then they get over it.
I got
But if
type
you're
of
an
those.
infinite consciousness and you're briefly a human and God just literally, chops you in half,
Smoteth you.
smokes you, it might seem brutal to the people who are still humans. But when you're on the other side, you might all have a joke about how God just smited you,
Oh man,
along with the 50,000 other people of your time.
you here for the not putting the blood on the corner of my house? You too.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I fucking knew you wouldn't fall for that shit.
And then you're all chill because turns out, as an actual all-powerful creator, it wasn't a big deal. It really wasn't a big deal that you suffered briefly in the cosmos of infinite existence.
Yeah, and see, like that's actually a good point. Like I've always had that question, like burning kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah. My take on pain is, if I've used this analogy in one of our other videos, but if you could make conscious AI in a video game and you cared about the AI and the souls in it, and when they died, they could come into your realm. So you could, like, pull out a consciousness out of a game you made and pull it into your existence. You don't really care if you kill the guy in the game or not, because
Yeah, it wasn't real.
they can just come out at any time. You can come into your
and see
existence.
like and see what if that's what the Matrix is? It's like it's this sensation synapse, and then if you're pulled out of it, then you're actually in the real world. That's where like traveling and everything like that comes into play.
Traveling.
Yeah, seriously, because like if you're in the real world, you have so many more options. If you're in the fake world, you've got a lot more options,
Fair.
but are they as real as the real world?
Of course not.
Yeah, exactly. Climbing Everest in a video game versus climbing Everest in real life,
Yeah.
you get a different level of like.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You ain't wrong about that one.
I mean, like I've watched like John Wick 5 times today, so like,
Preparing for this podcast,
oh yeah, I had to get hyped up.
we actually have a couple guys coming to kill us just to up the stakes of what, bringing the light and being in the flow state.
Tune in if AK Baby Doo's here. It's because I did one of them sick grenade jumps. Like first round, not even second round of guys.
But we're going to talk about some varied topics. Before we get off this, I want to bring up a real world example of diminishing the light. In corporate America, a cornerstone of corporate America is meetings. Being in meetings, discussing subject matter, discussing topics, etc.
That's what the big wigs go to.
Meetings are inherently elite. It's inherent elitism, and it's inherent where the people who partake in these meetings are trying to up their contribution via their own opinions and subjective viewpoints. And so over time, if you're in enough meetings, your actual spirit will be reduced to that of mush. And the reason why public school turns out such low free spirits, they turn out such a low rate of actually independent thinkers, is because humans aren't meant to sit and listen for hours and hours and hours on end. Think about it. You're given all these tools, this brain, these ears, language, and you sit, but you listen for 8 hours a day. You sit and listen and banter. Do you think that's going to net you a true experience in this world?
No, I see like school as like a variety pack situation. Do you want to learn about this? Do you want to learn about this? Or do you want to learn about this? Because like I've still yet to understand what the circumference of a rhombus has gotten me in life.
Submission is the ultimate boss battle. Submission. And there are so many micro submissions people make every day that they don't even know they're making.
Yeah, I mean, stopping at a stop sign, that's a bit of submission, but it also makes, stop signs a little safer.
A little. A
Just a
little
little,
safer.
a teeny bit safer. I know like 4 people that have been sideswiped in this town alone.
So, throughout your whole life, part of learning is submitting, because to learn to speak a language to a degree is to submit to it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I have such an issue with language. I don't like how words mean this or that, and somebody decided they meant this or that. It's like, who gave you the right to go, jump means jump? Who decided?
But it also means to stomp your buddy into the ground.
Shakespeare invented like 800 words in the English language.
Which means reading his books back then must have been a fucking trip.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's not a real word." It's like Shakespeare didn't even use real language.
Yeah, I feel like phlegonical or flaginum or uvula,
Yeah.
those are all.
And a lot of people don't know Shakespeare was a light bringer.
Yeah,
That's part of the reason.
Yeah, because at least he's making words for those things. You think flagellum was a word before he came around?
Yeah.
Get real.
Magellan.
Oh yeah, Magellan.
You think he would have traveled the globe without Shakespeare?
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
And so you're born of this earth given your God-given tools, your God-given intuition, but it's stripped from you as a means to communicate. And that the communication is turned against you as a means to control you.
Yeah, I mean, look at Mr. Beast right now.
Exactly. We'll get on that just a little bit later.
Oh, stay in tune, folks.
And it all boils down to this. You're either an intuitive person or you're an intellectual person.
I would argue those are the same things.
They're 100% different.
Okay, so you're telling me that a smart person that can read people versus a smart person that can read books written by people and understand the concepts in there. Two different animals.
100%.
Okay, so we're talking practicality versus
Ethereal.
Like, and to be fair, if I had a heart surgeon that, has actually practiced on pigs, try his first surgery on me, okay, well, maybe. But a guy that just read books, if he watched 2 YouTube videos and he's like, yeah, no, I can give you a coronary. No problem. Got you. No problem. I'll give you a colonoscopy. I've seen a YouTube video. No. Just can't. That'd be the same as like my fucking doctor walking in there and being like, yeah, man, you're just low on Riz.
So, you gave that example, but let's say the guy who said, I just watched a YouTube video, was 100% confident, and when he told you he could do it for you, there was zero stuttering and zero, doubt in his voice.
If it's his first one, no. But second one, I'd probably be like 95% on board.
That's what I'm saying. There's something about faith, there's something about the confidence that makes that leap to this is true and this isn't.
Yeah, that's why you have to have confidence in your colonoscopies. I don't understand. We're talking the same thing right here.
Fair. I've never had an inconfident colonoscopy.
I mean, I've had at least 3 today. I don't. If you're gonna get them done, might as well get them done in a row.
You had 3 colonoscopies today?
Oh yeah, just had to prepare for the show. No bullshit. Just keep it straight.
That's entering the flow state, if I ever heard it.
Been entering the flow state for 3 days now.
Who is on the receiving end?
You don't want to know. All you need to know is that they look like a chocolate cupcake on the way out.
So self-validation.
Oh yeah.
It's the ultimate superpower.
Oh,
it's the only superpower in the real physical world.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at all the people that have been canceled and then came back. Like self-confidence, it's almost impossible because like you have to be able to say what you want to say.
It. There are many people who wonder why they struggle to do things, or and others succeed in areas they don't. But I don't think anyone can truly self-validate. I don't think anyone 100% can self-validate. And what I mean by that is there's an image that comes into my head when I think about the raw reality of the world. And it's, if you're naked in the woods alone, but the eyes of humans are still on you.
A human zoo, as you would.
A human zoo. Who can stand with confidence?
I mean, I can. But then again, I'm like, I've got a weird one. So
And that's
like,
why you're on this podcast.
oh
Ian.
yeah, I'm trying to be weird. Like I love it. I'd rather
So
go
you
ahead.
would stand in a zoo naked.
I would helicopter in that zoo.
You would.
Yeah.
And that's how I know you're the right guy for this show.
Well, yeah, because like if I'm gonna get looked at, might as well be the favorite.
Because look, when I say Masters of Light, he just described it. The fur man just described being a master of light.
Yeah, it's going ahead in the face of something shitty, having fun with it.
Helicoptering naked in a human zoo is mastering the light.
There's no other way to go about it. Like if their eyes on you, might as well have fun with it. Go ahead and go full orangutan. Be that line that pisses through the metal cage. I mean, if you're stuck there and people are pointing and laughing and throwing peanuts, piss on them. Fuck them. Let's go.
So, shake my hand.
Oh, fuck.
I've underestimated. You are a master of the light.
Exactly.
Good sir.
I mean, like I try and do the best I can every time I'm on the show, even when you cheat on me. Well, I was gone for one episode, AK.
Yeah.
I was gone for one episode.
So fair, but I had told you before I'd considered having other people on.
Okay, I see how it is. You know what? I'm willing to forgive you.
But you're the true co-host.
I know. You can say I'm polycule number 1, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready for it. I thought they would, be prettier than me.
But they weren't. I mean, they weren't prettier than you, so it's okay, right? You know you're the prettiest.
Look, I'll forgive you for the sake of the kids, but you need to get it together. The next time they come on, they gotta be hot.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyone listening who has something they'd be interested in hearing from us or a take, feel free to leave it in the chat and we'll work it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I realize the error of my ways. You're truly the ultimate co-host. There is no replacement for you. And speaking of cheating, you made me very worried that you were leaving the show no more than a week ago.
Nah, see, I didn't mean to go ahead and stress you out like that. I was just
I'm a sensitive man. It takes a lot of sensitivity to hold all of this flow and all of this light.
Well, I mean, seriously though, but like you keep it together pretty well. I mean, the last podcast, great episode. I recommend that you listen to this episode. It is a very powerful one. It was a little bit serious for my taste. I mean, I'm a silly bitch at heart.
So, I need to smoke some more. We've got a listener who's suggesting they have some topics we could discuss, but he's concerned we might have a full ticket.
No.
And one thing I wanted to say, go ahead and get the record clear. We do have subject matter we can always discuss, but we are masters of the flow, masters of light.
Yeah, go ahead.
And ultimately, we're a flow state. We're in the flow state.
Yeah, go ahead, drop it on us. Let's see what you got.
I want to test my flow.
Yeah, come on.
Stress my flow.
Yeah, come on. We're gonna go full Houdini Eminem on this. We're gonna go ahead and snort some adrenochrome, and we're gonna be right on that topic. We did our research on this, but like, we like trying to dance with fire a little bit.
Dance with fire. Dance with the devil.
Dance with
But
Eminem.
only Dance with the Devil.
If you're getting like a weekend deal. Where did he go, AK? Where did he go?
The devil's gone. We're the devil now. We made our own.
Oh yeah, based that off of what the earthquakes in Rico, like Puerto Rico when they did a devil thing.
So
It's like 2 years ago. It was crazy.
that was crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
That
like,
was crazy.
That was literally a middle finger to God, and God went.
So
All right.
you know how God. I mean, I don't know how versed you are in theology. You knew one thing I didn't know, but I'm pretty versed. You know about the Tower of Babel.
Oh, obviously. Everybody, we get together as a race and we're like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and build a staircase to God. And God was like,
Yeah.
that's a little tall.
And he took away the people's ability to understand each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people lost their main language and everything was...
Obviously.
No one could communicate.
Yeah, that's why Americans speak Americanese and Canadians speak Canadianese.
So with us being in the modern world and knowing there are certain, obviously societies develop certain languages.
Yeah.
Do you think today we're missing elements of what language actually is? Do you think that we're in our own form of Babel right now?
In a way, I mean, like, we go ahead and get sectioned into these boxes, but on another way, we can translate those boxes to a whole another place. There was actually this Japanese game show, right, back in the day.
About language?
Oh, yeah, trust
Okay.
me, trust me.
Okay.
Okay, so, this man goes ahead and dedicates himself to 382 days of putting in 2 Japanese sweepstakes, right?
Right.
For a TV show where they blindfolded him, brought him to a random location. He's only allowed to have the stuff that he gets in from the sweepstakes.
Okay.
They do this to this man not once, not twice, but 3 times. Well, here's the kick.
How long did it last?
3 years. Now, here's the difference. Here's the shenanigans. They live streamed him after telling him that he was not a thing. This is in the 1990s. He did this completely naked.
And this is in Japan?
This is in Japan and South Korea. Because he eventually got so famous that the people in Japan were trying to find where his apartment was.
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, could you imagine being butt naked in front of 16 million people in the 80s? George Washington didn't get that kind of crowd. Julius Caesar never got that kind of crowd.
Fair. He did get at least a crowd of, 16 people stabbing him.
Oh, yeah. We don't talk about that. It's too soon, AK. It's too soon.
Too soon. A2? So did that apply to his language?
Oh, it had to, because, like...
Did he lose the ability to speak?
Well, after getting stabbed 16 times, yeah. I mean... The sweepstakes guy...
Yeah, the sweepstakes guy.
He had to live off dog food and rice for close to 2.5 months. Could you imagine sending into sweepstakes like Betty Crocker, and all you get is dog food
That would
and
suck.
rice?
It would suck.
That's dedication. That's dedication to the craft right there.
But again, that applies to his speaking. And
Yeah.
babble.
Exactly, because like he got so famous in one country and then became famous in another country, and they couldn't understand that it was the same show.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's basically the same thing translated across a different language, and they cannot tell the difference.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's like writing a book in 2 different languages, and they both get the same thing.
I think body language is intrinsic. It's hard to take away body language from a person.
Oh yeah.
Anywhere you go, like I went to Taiwan a few months back, and all I needed was cash and body language
And
to make 90% of things happen. But
and apparently not to smoke in the bathrooms.
or no, in the toilets, because guys will go in the toilet and smoke underneath you while you're taking a poop.
No fucking way.
And you're like, why is smoke coming out from under the seat? But then that is what it is.
Oh, it's just your hemorrhoids rubbing together.
I want to give my take on what's happening to language, where I think we're going, and what it could be. So,
Well, as the kids say, lay down that Riz, son. Go ahead and have a rap session.
I am the
with
Rizzler.
you.
the light-bringing Rizzler, AK Baby Dude.
Just gonna ramble off a couple of titles there like a Spanish princess.
But so I think today language is breaking down, and I think we're going to enter into. We might have a uni language as a globe, but I don't know. I feel like that's less likely, and what's more likely is we'll have a very ineffective language where we're making it up as we go from the remnants of what's left of our cultural languages. And prior to, and I think, brain rock culture, rap culture, the melting pot of the world is contributing to all of that. But prior to that happening today, or in the modern world, I used to think how many emotions didn't exist before we were able to classify them via language.
Okay, well, I feel like it's been that way ever since the beginning of time, but we only had to invent the words for it. Because hangry and angry could probably exist both in a peasant.
I believe that. But what I'm saying is, I'm willing to bet there's language and emotions we've missed.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's feelings that haven't been properly transcribed that people can't readily access because no one's ever actually articulated them.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things like, what do you call it when you're trying to wake up and you just can't quite get there, so you need a drink? Pick me up.
That's a sick phrase. It's for the sick-minded. It's for the dark.
And that's why I'm here on the show.
The dark bringers of the world use the term pick me up.
Go ahead and grab your comfy blankets. I'm the dark bringer.
But no, I do think language has probably hit its peak. I think language has probably hit its peak, and the world, until there's some great cyclical reset, is going to start trending down on coherent language.
Well, yeah, and see, like, that's building blocks for society. We've already got Riz.
Because, you think English is the most prominent language in the world. It's the money language.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
go to other countries, the second language is English because it's the most likely language to generate income.
Well, that's because we have tourists.
But the people who are leading English, the culture of English, say things that are incredibly dumbed down. Like, I'm a fan of Donald Trump, but you look at how he speaks in a very low level, so most people can understand him.
Well, it's a mnemonic device.
You look at the celebrities of today, you have celebrities like Ice Spice who have hit songs, you think you're the fart. No, you think you're the shit, you're not even the fart.
Poetry.
And it's like, imagine you're Chinese and you're trying to understand English, and you hear an Ice Spice song come on, and you're like, the delicacies of the English language.
Oh, God. See, that reminds me of this one thought experiment. Like, what's it going to be in every old folks home in like 40 years? It's going to be like, they ain't like us.
English is getting so dumbed down. So you could go, let's say, I've never really listened to K-pop, but I guarantee you can go listen to K-pop, have the
Subtitles on?
have the song translated into English, and you're not going to be hearing lyrics like, you think you the shit, you're not even the fart.
Yeah, you're going to hear like some very corny English version of it. It's going to be like, you do not believe that you are the greatest, but I am the greatest. It's just not going to translate well.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's the problem, even amongst the English language. Let's just go ahead and, for shits and giggles, let's go ahead and take America, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo.
Qu'est-ce que c'est bon temps roulé? What's that mean to you?
Ring around the rosy.
Exactly. That's Creole for let the good times roll. I'm probably butchering that. Now, let's get blind off some moonshine. Now, that is a Tennessee hello. Like that's let's go ahead and have some good times.
Yeah.
And then you got of course, you got the New York I'm walking here, which is hello. So
So you got to think maybe language in and of itself is a product of people who have subscribed to an ethos of the greater good. So like Christianity, for example, was accumulation in the world that people subscribed to.
yeah,
And the English language was obviously a huge proponent of Christianity. It's if you speak English, it's far more likely you'd be a Christian.
yeah, because Latin is where Christianity comes from. English comes from Latin. That's just perfect marketing.
As things get more divisive and there's less unity in belief systems, language, I would argue, has to then also become more subjective. It has to become more tribal.
Yeah. So if we can get back to and being two different things, then I'm in for it.
You think that would be good?
Oh yeah, definitely. It would go ahead and sort a lot of paperwork out if I had to understand that versus would be so much better.
I often joke that we're a couple years out from going back to sighs and grunts as our primary form of communication.
Well, I mean that's how it was in the 1990s. Like everybody was like, oh, whatever.
I'm pretty sure the 1990s people were more sophisticated.
Sorry, it was 2000s
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
now we're there.
Yeah, we're talking
When
Mean
Friends
Girls.
was the primary TV show.
And Seinfeld was crying because it fell slightly behind it. When The Simpsons was good.
I'm just saying. What about that?
Mm. Did you do that? Like, God, 1990 shows nowadays just don't hit the same.
Do you think that's because they're not very sensational compared to the stuff we view today?
Oh yeah, like look at the news in the 90s versus news now. News in the 90s. We've got a nuclear power plant that just opened up. There's 90,000 jobs. Let's have a good time. Now it's Camilla Harris is running for running for president.
On the surface, that doesn't sound necessarily more sensational.
It does when the ex presidente who's trying to be the re-presidente is getting shot in the ear. I mean, if we're being fair here,
Yeah.
like if it comes down to the story of the baby kangaroo
Right.
or the president almost getting shot by somebody that Secret Service is may or may not have known about beforehand.
So I have a take on sensationalism
Ah,
that I want to give, and this is in reference to bringing light to the world.
Mm.
Sensationalism, I think, in Western societies, it's the biggest bane we have currently. The fact that everything has to be sensational for people to give attention to it
yeah,
ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah, because like look at recycling and global warming.
Exactly. There comes a point where things have been so sensational for so long that even if the truth is the truth and it needs to be said, if it's not sensational, people don't care to listen to it. And so what we end up in is a loop of having to manifest sensational events to sustain our own entertainment.
Oh yeah, and see, like that's believe it or not, this is where South Park hits your point more than you'd like it to.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Okay, so you know Whale Wars, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they did an episode on that, and it was literally before Stan gets into Whale Wars. He's like
Okay,
actually out
okay.
there trying to make a difference. You know the
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See what I'm saying? Can
Right.
you clarify for the audience because like they might not know?
I can't clarify.
Okay,
I'm a intuitor.
oh, fair enough. Okay, so in the episode, one of the main characters decides to start giving a shit about the whales. Well, the rest of his friends are like, I don't give a shit. The second that it becomes on TV and where they can go ahead and get in on it, it's like fake kindness content now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to buy 10,000 burgers for the homeless. Shows 5 homeless people getting burgers.
That's right. And so something I will say to people a lot before I even had seen that episode was, okay, imagine there's a world without racism. It actually exists in theory.
Yeah.
There's a world with no racism. The moment that somebody of the opposite color kills or harms another person, and it's reported that their skin color, like a black man killed a white man in X community, racism enters the world in that moment, surely by proxy of explaining it.
Yeah.
And And so with that, so here's my antidote to sensationalism. And it's something I actually practice as much as I can. If something is too sensational, I simply don't view it, and I won't view it. If I see a headline that says Vladimir Putin minutes away from dropping a nuke on the United States, I won't click on the article. I just won't click on it. You know why? Because I'm here to bring the light, and I don't give two fucks whether a nuke's getting dropped or not.
If the
'Cause
mushroom's here or not.
You're not about to get me to submit to your shitty-ass article written by ChatGPT just because you put a catchy headline, you little bitch-ass journalist.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same boat as you, and normally you and I don't agree.
Yeah.
But like, I hate that shit too. It's always like Kim Jong Un about to drop nuclear tests on Japan. It's like, okay, all right, I'll click it, and then it's like, well, they shot a missile and it got 2 miles off the coast.
And so that's what I'm saying. It ultimately becomes what gets attention and what doesn't dictates reality. What gets attention and what doesn't, that is reality. And so if the world is too sensational, it's too hyperbolic, it's too dramatic, and you click on all of these clickbait titles, you're simply you're playing a role in the cog of that machine.
Yeah, it's like buying plastic bags and then throwing it in the ocean. At a certain point, you are the middleman.
And so, even though I'd love to know whether Putin is dropping a nuke, I mean, it would benefit me to know. I simply won't click because I know I'm contributing to the monster of sensationalism.
Yeah, and see, like, that's something that, believe it or not, like, I've thought about, like, when certain news stories break. Like, there's this new one out about Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard not to be a sensationalist. It's not, it's hard not to look.
Yep.
But it's my civic duty not to. So I just read the titles and report on it.
The titles will give you enough.
Exactly. And then they show like a little clip of like somebody acting shocked, like, that's all I need to know. Like, did you know that there's 10 things about honey you didn't know?
Why push-ups are killing your gains. Why breathing are killing your gains. Why driving a car is causing you to get to your location slower.
Did you know that sunshine in your water could give you cancer? And what are the top 5 reasons for that?
The sad thing is we have to come to a point where we just don't care anymore. I don't care why smoking is giving me cancer. I don't care why doing a squat in the middle of the woods is going to somehow cause a beaver to go up my butthole.
Well, you should give a damn. At least about the beaver.
Like, we've got to beat this beast of sensationalism, and I don't know how to do it other than I will ignore sensational topics.
Well, see, I would love to say that I do the difference, but again, I'm the hedonist of the group.
And I believe there might be a time where an army shows up at my door ready to kill me, and I could have read the news and prepared for it. But truth be told, you know, I'm almost 30. If I've ever ignored an article that was sensational, I've never paid for it, not a single time. I've never read a sensational article and benefited from it.
Yeah,
a single time.
Oh, I mean, I fell victim to that. Like my first 20 years of life, I would keep clicking on those articles, and they'd lead to another set of articles, like top 10 reasons why you definitely 100% 10 and plus 2 have cancer.
Yeah, and next thing you know, you're in a pod, and you're in the Matrix, and they're moving your body with robots, and
also,
but then you're here today.
Unironically, please go ahead and buy Gatorade.
That's big. That's Gatorade calling right now.
Good Lord.
The forced promo.
Buy Berry Blast. Buy Berry Blast.
But honestly, guys, drink water. Drinking water is fighting sensationalism.
Deep water has definitely not got attracted to the drone. Pay no attention to him.
But yeah, the Mr. Beast situation. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Mr. Beast. I wish I did, but I know the Chris Tyson, or I think that's his name, or Ava Tyson, whoever.
Crava?
Yeah.
Cravas.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, like, at this point in time, you can't even be tied to somebody like that no more.
Yeah, I think he cut ties.
Well, yeah, and it was a goof from the get. Like it being mates is one thing, but like fucking ignoring creepy habits are another. Like, but that's the fall of every great man. Eventually, down the line, if you have enough people working for you, somebody's gonna get busted for murder.
100%.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a couple of Disney executives that like got arrested for cocaine. I could put money on it.
I mean, that's not surprising.
Well, I mean, they had Goofy, a dog, fall in love with a cow. Like, something was wrong in that studio.
The signs were there.
Mm.
But
Pluto has to stay in the doghouse. Goofy gets pants. It's.
sensationalism.
I can't believe it.
It's cancer.
I can't believe it.
I say we do the opposite. Instead of being sensational, we downplay. So let's start downplaying things.
All right. What do we got?
Putin drops a nuke on the U.S. Putin launches a small military
Excursion.
special forces attack on special forces visitation on the U.S.
Oh yeah, but it's only Alaska. Which we already had planned anyway. We already moved everyone out like 30 days before. We're dropping nukes on the end of it. Canada's about to get a little more warm.
I don't believe in the buy-in of sensational things. And I'm a sensational person to some degree, but I'm bringing the light, so it's different. It's like
that's why I got the script as chair.
We turn it off. Turn off. If there's one thing the viewers at home can know, it's turn it off. Turn us off. Turn the world off.
Yeah, go ahead and touch grass.
Touch grass.
Prescribed by your podcast right now. Go ahead and touch grass.
Well, false graves, that's even the name represents touching grass.
Yeah, we're digging up every grave that we can to make sure which ones are empty.
Yeah.
Some people got Hooskout into the big cemetery game.
Or take the corpse out of the casket and make it touch grass because it never did when it was alive.
Yeah, go ahead and air them out. Maybe they could have something for you, like necklaces and rings.
It might. Maybe they even have a newsletter.
Oh God, newsletters.
A zombie with a newsletter.
Oh, extra! Read all about it. For this one company.
We're not big enough that we'll have enough viewers to test this. But I believe no one has ever actually read a newsletter, made one, or subscribed to one. I think, birds are a myth. Newsletters are a myth.
Well, actually, birds are a deep psyop.
Yeah.
No,
but they're not deeper than newsletters.
Well, I mean, who eats chicken nowadays? It's all cameras and wires.
Can you name one person you know who's ever subscribed to a newsletter, not the newspaper?
Grandpa.
Your grandpa wasn't even on a computer.
He had a Windows Vista, I'll have you know.
Okay, so he subscribed to a newsletter.
No,
I mean,
I can't even say for sure that he did.
Okay.
He probably read stuff that was actually carved into the ancient texts. He probably knows what the Ark of the Covenant looks like because he helped carry it.
So we're getting called out right now. We got some people in the chat saying they make newsletters for a living.
Nah. We got liars in the chat. There ain't no way. That's all AI work now.
The Matrix has sent their agents.
Oh, dear Lord.
And what's sad is I thought I knew this person. I thought I knew who they were. But now that I know they make newsletters, I know they were sent from the top.
¿Por qué?
I've never read one. I've never made one. So I've been working on this website. I make websites for some of the companies I've worked for.
Yeah.
And Wix has this option to create a newsletter, and that's what spawned this. I'm going to create it, and I almost clicked, okay, start creating a newsletter. And before I clicked it, something came over me.
It was the light.
The light saved me.
The fluorescent ones or the UV ones?
No. The spiritual light. Because I knew if I'd clicked create newsletter, a dark spirit would have entered into my life.
Well, it must have been those UV lights, them purple ones that they use in the rap videos.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You ever seen a rapper with a newsletter?
Snoop Dogg has a great publicity. He doesn't need a newsletter. Everyone already knows.
But somehow entrepreneurs all have newsletters, but rappers don't. That make sense.
It doesn't, because Jeff Bezos doesn't have a newsletter. He has a stock portfolio, but he doesn't have a newsletter.
Yeah. Never seen Bezos saying subscribe to my newsletter.
Smash that like button and subscribe.
I'm talking a lot of crap. But for the people listening, newsletter in the bio. Go ahead and click that link. You get a daily email about how to bring the light.
It's the same article every day. Just stop being so serious.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Seriousness kills the world.
It does. I mean, it divides us so hard because we take everything so serious.
Yeah, you got to think, in the past when people were super serious, what did they do with it? They went to another nation and just started murdering the people there.
Yeah, because they didn't have anger management classes.
Yeah, they're like, okay, I'm serious, so I'm going to trek 100,000 miles and go start stabbing.
Yeah, which is funny because like 99.9% of people up until like the last 100 years, if you traveled 20 miles outside your house, you're gone. Probably
because the guys with the newsletters showed up.
Oh, man, I gotta go check out the Roman Times. Give me like 2 seconds, okay, Caesar?
What happened to Grandpa? Well, he was going on a trek to the Gooch Lands, and somebody approached, asking to sign up for a newsletter. Next thing you know, his horse and buggy went missing.
Well, I mean, he was reading the top 10 things to not catch dysentery on. They would have sent back his sword, but they couldn't find it.
Newsletters of the past.
Oh my god.
How to keep your king from raping your wife.
Or top 10 reasons why you're being burned at the stake. Here's our newsletter why.
Dude, if only they had the internet back in the times, bro.
Oh, they did. They had the French Revolution. It was brought on by the press. It was top 10 reasons to execute the monarchy. Let's start with number 1. You eat cake.
Why your daughter learning to make anything other than bread means she's a witch. 7 signs.
Oh. Can you read? This is the top 10 reasons why you don't want to know that.
Hide. Duck. Imagine you find out how to read. Instantly, the authorities come kick out your door. This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to call 1. Oh my god. I couldn't imagine trying to explain that to like Dungeoneers. Look, I'm just putting words in my head that other people said without them saying it to you. Yep, witchcraft. Automatic. Straight to the burn pile.
Witchcraft. So, I want to do something a bit different on this podcast.
All right.
Typically, we wrap up. It's some sort of cheap amalgamation of finishing out a topic or two we missed. But I have a lot of intrinsic meaning I want to give with bringing light and entering the flow state. I want to give you, an avenue to go ahead and open up a topic for us to end on that you think is important to the world. What if you had a message? They go. If you could, the whole world was your audience. What would you say?
That's a tough one. See, I'd want to say something profound, but that's just not who I am.
Okay. Something discussable though.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's a bit of a chin scratcher.
Because I'm looking to.
Let's see.
I'm looking to flow and bring light upon.
Okay. Why get a college degree instead of an OnlyFans?
Oh, this is a tough one. This might be the perfect dichotomy to challenge me. So I'll start with what I know, and I'll intuit the rest. I believe OnlyFans is the single worst thing that's ever hit the West. I think when people get so much financial fidelity through means which are so easily obtained, like you have a nice body and you show it and you get a ton of money, over time it erodes the entire society of the West. Or society in general. Because to get such immense amount of gains via such little effort, it decomposes the minds of society.
Yeah, in a mass kind of graves kind of form.
Yeah, because it's such an unfair scenario, and it's just a dark beast.
Okay, and see that's where me and you have different kind of views on it.
Mhm.
I believe like it's kind of the marijuana of the bad world. Like
Mhm.
it's viewed as not this big a deal, but actually it can have long-lasting effects. Not that everybody that smokes is a bad person.
I'm not a super moral person, but OnlyFans is my biggest moral gripe. I think if anything pushed me to the line on saying this is right, this is wrong, it was OnlyFans.
Okay, so you're telling me that somebody that goes on OnlyFans and shows their boobs should not earn as much as a doctor.
No, they shouldn't, but arguably, and this is the harsh reality of the world, ultimately the men are the problem, and everything ultimately is the fault of men. I don't like men. I think men are an absolute bane 99% of the time. Today, not in the past, but today.
I mean, like that's why I got on this show. I identify as a they them.
And so here's why I say that. If every lonely man got off OnlyFans today, imagine how much more talented labor could enter the workforce. Imagine how much more labor would never enter the workforce, but would instead go to another man who decides to have a family with said OnlyFans girl. And they end up having to have kids.
Well,
And so there's a lot of beauty being stripped out of the world because OnlyFans is capitulated to, and it's capitulated to by extremely weak men. If you're a man today, porn is free on the internet. If you're so lonely that you have to talk to some chick who's charging you money, you're a disgusting human being. You're worse than she's ever thought of being. You are the scum of the earth.
yeah, and I'll agree with you that some people that subscribe to that kind of thing aren't
Yeah.
the best. But like this is where you and I kind of differ. You're more of sincerity versus sensationalism.
Mm-hmm.
Like currently I'm still on like stage 1 of the flow state. I'm trying to reach that eventually. But I believe like what we got right now is what we're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well enjoy it. And that's where my monkey brain is.
True. Well, no, you're not wrong. I think humans are going to always choose vice over virtue until they can't anymore. I think we're on cyclical lessons until we eventually wise up, but we're far from it. I think we'll continue to choose our vices. And when the vice becomes so big we end up in an immense amount of pain, we'll have to choose virtue by force.
Mm.
And we'll be on that cycle until one day we wise up, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, no, we're all plugged into the matrix.
We are. And the thing about it, though, is men could stop it today.
Good.
Every man has the power to simply not be on OnlyFans and rewrite society. Like they have the ability to rework it. And you know, my prescription for men is just any pleasure that you want, you should make sure you're getting the purest form of it. So, for instance, if you're on OnlyFans and you want a girl to talk to, or you want, sexual pleasure, you shouldn't be okay with getting it the easy way, or you should have to get it the hard way, which is in real life, in person. If men today decided every pleasure I'm going to enjoy will be an in-person pleasure, the world would immediately right itself.
Yeah. I mean, like, but that's where we're at right now as a society. That's why the rainforest keeps burning. That's why money keeps exchanging hands.
Yeah. And so ultimately, you have to look in the mirror and go, from today forward, everything that I desire, I will have in the realest form of it. I'll have it in the real sense. I won't have it in the artificial sense. I'm done with the artificial. I won't play games so I can have the feigned opinion that I'm a winner, when in reality, you know, I suck at all things except Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I do send out a newsletter every once in a while. By the way, tune into the newsletter for False Graves. We're gonna be giving your top 10 tips for lemon uses after
It's
this podcast.
if men just swap from artificial pleasures to genuine pleasures, then the world would have to accommodate, because there's no other choice. I mean, that is what the world is. It's
Well, the problem with that is that we've been taught from a young age in this society, take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of buildup, a lot of chutzpah for some
Yeah.
people to go out there and touch real grass. By the way, subscribe and prescribe to touching
subscribe.
grass.
Anywho,
No, that way.
but to that point, before we wrap up, I have this theory that the entire world, they can't escape this fact, and it's every single person in the world, unfortunately, is seeking the validation of a strong man.
Well, I think it's a strong person, but yeah.
Well, women seek the validation of a man, men seek the validation of a man.
Cleopatra, Catherine the
We're
Great,
all looking for
Mary
that one
Curie.
guy who just turns and gives the nod that we did okay.
Everybody's looking for their Chuck Norris.
You did okay. And I think that's God, obviously. And some people aren't religious, but I think everyone, whether they want to or not, can't escape the fact we're searching for the nod of approval.
Yeah, my guy's name is Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's not that much of a manly man, but like he
does build houses.
Yeah, I mean, like he also mows his yard across the street, and I've never
Yeah.
seen him even so much as nod at me. It hurts my feelings. He knows that I'm a piece of garbage.
He's blown up some creepers, though.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying, like my fence has got holes in it, and I can just tell silently that he's not okay with it, and I should get out there and fix it. It just take 2 wood blocks.
2 wood. You put 2 wood together, and you get fire. And when you get fire, you get energy that didn't require excess labor to make.
Mm.
And when you have energy that doesn't require excess labor, you've begun the first step of entering the flow state. And when the flow state has been entered, as when a fire has first been started, the light has been brought. And ultimately,
That's where you're gonna stay positive and test negative.
you've got to bring the light. Even if you test negative.
I mean, that's the whole point of being positive.
Like I say, test negative.
Stay positive.